Back in the Yukon, I found myself under a flurry of grievances, each more irritating than the last. The rampant animal abuse? Check. The walking corpse, masquerading as my passenger, who reeked so profoundly that I was beginning to suspect he had been quietly decomposing for at least a decade? Double check. The grotesquely vertical mountains that seemed personally offended by my existence? Triple check. On this particular day, I found myself paired with one of the guides. The rare variety who did not smell like he had been marinating in cadaver stew. We were on a mission to scout for stone sheep. The guide was an amateur aviation expert, in the way that people who watch one season of Grey's Anatomy think they can perform open-heart surgery. Fixed on the rock face through his binoculars, he was searching for those elusive herbivores, blissfully unaware that we were only one wind gust away from pulling off an unplanned and very permanent landing. I glanced back, and, in my calmest, most professional tone, informed him that if he didn't put away those binoculars, I'd personally ensure he got an extremely up-close view of the rock face. No enlargement required. "Is this safe, flying so close to the cliff?" The genius in the back finally spoke up. His voice laced with that golden mix of false expertise and mild panic. I could practically hear his self-appointed aviation PhD crumbling into dust with every word. "Of course it's not, you moron," I snapped back, because why bother with diplomacy when death is literally flirting with you through the windshield? "But didn't you say," and I quote, "get me as close to the drop as possible unless you're a pussy? Be careful what you wish for, my friend." In truth, I was probably more terrified than he was. But hell no, I wasn't about to admit that. Instead, I cranked the nose down and shoved us even closer to the cliff, the jagged rock face looming like a warning sign I had no intention of heeding. Winds tossed us around like an origami in a blizzard, but at least we were giving the universe a show. We danced along that ridge, a two-step impending disaster. And then it happened. A downdraft hit us like a freight train from hell, and we plunged 1,500 feet in what could only be described as the world's most violently ill-advised elevator ride. We slammed into the air with a thud that would have knocked sense into anyone, had they any to begin with. Both of us smacked our heads against the metal headliner. Probably left a dent in that, honestly. And anything not nailed down in the cockpit decided it was high time to audition for Cirque du Soleil. Among the debris flying around, because that's just what you want in a precarious flying situation, was my trimming wheel. A vital, crucial, life or death component of keeping the damn aircraft from going full kamikaze. Gone. Just pop off, like it was some kind of a trivial accessory. "Hey, genius!" I yelled over the engine's roar and the symphony of panic hammering in my skull. "Mind making yourself useful for once? See if you can find that damn trim wheel before we end up as a permanent fixture on this rock." "Is it important? Do we even need that?" he asked, sounding irritated, like I had invited him to a funeral and handed him the shovel. Meanwhile, he was busy bleeding all over himself like a cheap horror flick extra and clutching at his scalp like it was the last thing that mattered. It was a remarkably idiotic question coming from someone who theoretically knew everything about flying, but I let it slide. He was busy getting a free blood transfusion from his own forehead, while I was engaged in a less than graceful tango with gravity.